Hi everyone, welcome to the Pageant Aficionado. So it's me, Paris. I am back, and I'm really excited to be here to talk to you all about some hot topics that are going on in pageantry. So right now, I wanted to bring up the Miss Universe organization. We all see that the Miss Universe organization has gone back to an old rule that they had back when they first became an organization. So I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but when the Miss Universe organization first started, I believe in 1951 or 52, they allowed women who were married with children to compete in the pageant. So because of that rule, they had married contestants with children, and then about a year or two later, that rule changed to where they did not allow that, and that was present for a long amount of time until up to now. So we have seen in pageant news and on the internet, on Google, you can see that a few months ago it was announced that in, I believe, the 2023 Miss Universe pageant, not this upcoming one that will take place in New Orleans, but the 2023 edition, which will be, I believe, the 72nd edition of the pageant. So that is where we will see that contestants can now be married and they now will be able to have children. It's brought up with some interesting questions for a lot of different people wondering, well, how is the Miss Universe going to be able to be Miss Universe when there's a husband and children or wife? What if Miss Universe is in a same sex relationship? But I think for me, it's one of those things where if the organization has already announced it, I'm pretty sure they have thought about what the logistics are going to be, how all of this is going to play out. And so they're just probably happy to give that opportunity to the young ladies. But something that I thought was weird is that they're going to keep the age requirement of only from the age of 18 to 28 can you compete for Miss Universe, which I was like, here we go with this age discrimination, as I like to call it, in my opinion. But putting an age limit on who can compete, I mean, in today's society, I kind of think maybe they should up it a little bit, to a higher age, just because most women and men nowadays are not married right away, right out of high school anyway. So that is a topic for Miss Universe. And something else that's really great is that we're going to be able to see that the Miss Universe pageant this year is going to be broadcast all the way from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm extremely excited about that. Very excited, first of all, for me personally, because my family's from New Orleans and from Louisiana. So it's going to be a lot of fun to travel there for the pageant and see family, enjoy the good food and the culture, and Miss Universe. So on January 14th, 2023, get ready to watch Miss Universe live from New Orleans, Louisiana, USA. So it's going to be a good pageant. Now, speaking about USA, we're going to segue right on into, of course, what pageant just happened on October 3rd was the Miss USA 2022 pageant. Now, for a lot of us that watch pageants, of course, we all knew that there are going to be some different favorites among the contestants. Some contestants that you know a lot about, some contestants you don't know that much about. Nowadays, with the pageants, I've noticed that we really don't get to learn a lot about the delegates anymore on the website and seeing the pictures of their gown and a picture of them in their swimsuit or learning anything about them. Everything's kind of via social media and it's pushing you to go towards their social media. Now, I was born in 83, so not to age myself, but for some of those, it is for some of us where we're not really big into the social media is it's a lot to, for me anyway, to think to go and snoop on someone. That's how it kind of makes me feel, to learn so much about them. But at the same time, I think it's really a great idea how the organization is utilizing social media enable for you to learn about the contestants. Now, for me this year, I don't think I had like just a favorite going in, and I have many notes sitting right here. So I'm going to be referring to my notes, and then I will also be going back and forth and looking at our chat to see if anybody wants to comment while we are sitting here discussing our hot topic. So here, I remember seeing the preliminary competition a few nights before the actual live show on FYI. And so when I remember for me, I just kind of wrote down because this is what I was seeing was just swimsuit and evening gown. I didn't really have an interview to go off of or any packages of the young ladies while they may have been doing something else. So I really didn't have anything to go off of to see what their personalities were like or to see what their advocacy was about or what their platforms was about. So I kind of just made some notes based off of preliminary evening gown. So from preliminary evening gown, I had already written down Arizona, California, Colorado, Washington, Rhode Island, Texas, Vermont, District of Columbia, Kansas, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Illinois, Minnesota, North Carolina, Ohio, Oregon. I also had some other ones put to the side that I thought, okay, we may see them up there as well, such as Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Mississippi, Idaho, and Kentucky. And so that was a quick just evaluation of how they performed for the evening gown round, how they attacked the stairs. Now, for me, I'm a true pageant aficionado. So everybody knows, even when I'm a pageant coach and even when I'm just the standby, the stairs are a key moment that I have said to many different delegates that I have helped coach before. That is a test. So you really want to walk down them stairs. You want to show them that you can attack those stairs. You need to know how to move your feet. You need to know how to work in your gown. So I really was surprised at who could walk down them stairs and who had some moments where you're like, oh, they don't know how to attack the stairs at this part of the game. We're at Miss USA. They're looking at who's going to be the best Miss USA interview and who is going to compete the best at Miss Universe on stage. So I really, really wanted just to see all of the delegates have a fair advantage, and I really wanted to see them walk really well. This takes me back to also thinking about the walking coach, Lou Sierra. I really miss seeing her because I feel like when she was there at Miss USA and she was there at Miss Universe, you could see that she was really showing the young ladies and the delegates this is something that, you know, you should be doing or how you should be doing it. I don't know a better way to say it right now, but basically, this is how you walk and this is how you present yourself and model. Now, once we get into the pageant, I already knew from watching different pageant sources here on YouTube that there have been a lot of different changes made into going into what the delegates would need when they went to the pageant. Number one, I was told that there was an introduction outfit that was added, which I was like, oh, an introduction outfit. Okay, that's new. And so I was thinking and wondering, like, oh, are they going to have like a casual wear fashion show at the beginning? I didn't really understand what the introduction outfit was for. And then also hearing that they had to buy 7 or 8 t-shirts because and then I noticed that there were changes. Now, normally when we see the Miss Universe pageant or Miss USA pageant, Miss America pageant, the delegates are there for at least 2-3 weeks in the location. This year they were there for a week, which I was like, wow, okay, so the organization must have thought, let's redo some things. For me personally, and just thinking about the business aspect of it, I completely thought fiscally they just thought this would be cheaper. But at the same time, the delegates were asked to, there was a free Miss USA t shirt given to them. And then they were asked to purchase, like I said, 7 or 8 more. And I could be wrong on the number of t shirts. Did I write that down? I don't think I wrote down the number of t shirts that they needed. But all the t shirts cost like $30 each. Just saying. $30 each a t shirt. And you need 7 or 8 of them for the whole week. Oof. On top of all your shoes and makeup and introduction outfit and evening gowns and cocktail outfits, normally when the delegates are at Miss Universe or Miss USA, they wear 2 to 3 outfits a day, depending on what it is that they're doing and where they're going. So I was a little surprised, a little surprised. I was like, wow, like they get them like that. They couldn't just give them the t-shirts. I mean, gosh, they are the state delegate here. But, it is what it is. It's the pageant. Some I've competed in pageants before, and sometimes there are some extra costs that you do question, and you're just like, I don't understand why we are doing this. But as a delegate, it's just best to you go along with it, you grin and bear it, and sometimes the organization learns from their mistakes, and sometimes it's something that they keep. I don't know. But moving right along. So, into the pageant, they had this great opening number where all of the delegates were, I believe, in a Giovanni outfit, including Miss USA Elle Smith. And it had fringe and crystals, and Elle's was a complete like pantsuit, whereas the young ladies was more like a little um, I think it's called like a little jumpsuit. It's like the little outfit Beyonce wears when she's performing. So it looks so cute. And then they were dancing to a lot of different pop songs. I heard Todrick Hall, Born to Be a Queen, and then I also heard his um, hips, legs, thighs. Like it was a lot of fun watching them do the introductions and just seeing all of the fun that they were having, and it just got everybody involved. I actually got to go to Miss USA last year in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when they were at the River Spirit Casino with my family, and it's a lot of fun. Let me tell you, if you're an American and the Miss USA contest is in your area, go to the contest. Go cheer on your state. Go cheer on your grandparents' home state, your neighbor's state. Just go have a ball. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially if they have it at a casino. Let me tell you, Mom enjoyed the margaritas that were being served. And on the other side, that you could bring in and enjoy while you're watching the pageant. So it was a plus. So they know how to throw a good pageant. Um, the host of the pageant, of course, we saw Zuri Hall was back, and then she had co-hosts Micah Jesse and Julissa Bermudez. Um, I didn't know who Micah Jesse was or Julissa Bermudez. I don't really think they mentioned where they were from or what they normally do, and I'm assuming that they must uh, anchor or co-anchor or speak somewhere else on some type of news show, because why else would they have invited them to be a commentator? But it was like, okay, welcome, welcome. Don't know who you are, but welcome. Zuri, of course, I wrote down had great style. She was just amazing, just really, really great. And I also wrote down that scene. I put Miss Universe organization president, Miss Universe organization CEO. So that was really cool to see that they were in the audience. I believe Amy Emmerich is our new Miss Universe organization CEO. We have Hernaz Sandhu, Miss Universe 2021 from India, and our Miss Universe organization president, Paula Shugart. Yes, honey. And of course, our president of the Miss USA organization, Crystal Stewart. Just, yes, was in heaven just seeing that. Love, love, love seeing that. So, of course, we go right along, I see that some changes have been made. Of course, they are still sticking with some of their changes that they made last year, where we're going to go ahead and announce the top 16, and then that top 16 will be judged in the introduction outfit. So that change was made. And then they will go into a top 12, which I was like, wow, okay, so already is this cut just based off of the introduction outfit. There wasn't an interview, there wasn't there was no uh, a way of us knowing how they were judged or what they were going to be judged on. Just it's an introduction outfit. So for me, it was a little like, okay, like you don't even hear what they're saying and already just based off this introduction outfit, which they're all wearing really nice, basically like interview type outfits or evening wear outfits. So we then learned that from that 16 they go to 12, from that 12 they go to 2 of 5, and from that 5 we'll have the winner. They were sticking with again the format of when it's time for interview, we will see the delegates change into their interview wear, and they will have like a panel interview with Zuri Hall, the host. So right away we get into our top 16 semifinalists, and we see that District of Columbia is called. I felt really bad for District of Columbia because as soon as she's called and she smiles, you see right here on the side of her teeth there is some lipstick. or something. I don't know if she was like snacking on something or she had put on some lipstick and it got stuck right there and no one said anything. You just gonna let her go out like that? Okay, y'all. So then we go in. Miss New Mexico is called California. You know, I'm originally born and raised in California, and even though I live in Hawaii, I'm always very much cheering for California and Hawaii and the different home states of my family members. So, California making out, I was really happy to see that. And then we had Connecticut, Missouri, Ohio, Nebraska, Tennessee, Illinois, Kansas, North Carolina, New Hampshire, West Virginia, Minnesota, Texas, and Vermont. And now with some of these young ladies, I had already was had looked at them and was like, I see a Miss Universe. Now for me, I always look for the one who to me is going to compete the best at Miss Universe, but also who is going to make the best Miss USA. So a lot of these young ladies, I already knew that they were going to make it in just from the preliminary competition, learned a little bit that I did learn, and then sticking with from what I was being told are the new requirements. Whereas everyone always says that Miss Universe organization, Miss USA has like Miss Teen USA, these three pageants. There's a certain something that the organization is looking for every year. A few years ago, people were saying it was the delegate needed to have a story. We need to know so much about the delegate this year. I'm being told that for Miss USA, that Crystal Stewart and her team are very much looking for the young lady with the most beautiful face and a great physical physique. On top of being very knowledgeable and intelligent and being able to sell themselves and their brand. I don't know, because I'm not a part of the staff, so whatever I'm saying is strictly my opinion and hearsay. But it does make you wonder, well, what are they looking for year after year? Because things do change as we see the lineup, and we see that some states and countries, their organizations got the memo and they show up prepared for the assignment, and some of them they may not, and it takes a few different pageants for them to finally get the assignment. I digress. Anyways, so now that we have had our wonderful introduction outfits, and which I thought was really nice to see them in their beautiful introduction outfits. I'm not gonna lie, Miss Texas's introduction outfit, she made it herself. I was like, okay, it was nice. It was very nice. I remember I liked Miss California's jumpsuit. There were, I believe, Miss North Carolina had a beautiful blue, almost. I'm not sure if it was a pencil skirt and a top or just a dress. Just all the young ladies looked extremely fashionable. And the first thing I thought was Miss USA is back. We are back. Here we go. Don't play. Don't play. We are coming for that. I believe we have 9 Miss Universe wins, and we're trying to get up to that 10th one. I could be wrong right now in my stats. We could be at 8 or I believe Venezuela has 8. I believe we're waiting to get that 10th one. But as I digress, like so excited, we're back. We're back strong. Just all that fashion and the sense of um, coming out strong and coming with the national costume, the not national, excuse me, state costume competition, and just seeing all the different changes that have come to Miss USA. It's kind of reminding me of how it was when I was young and the nostalgia of it, and it's just really great to see all of the pageantry right away when they went ahead and they start with our I'm looking at my notes here. So we go into our top 12. So they name off for our top 12. It is New Hampshire, Kansas, Texas, Tennessee, North Carolina, Nebraska, Minnesota, New Mexico, Ohio, Vermont, Illinois, and Connecticut. I was already sad by the exclusion of California. I was like, no, no, not my birth state, no. But it's okay. California's always gonna come back, baby. We always do. We always come strong. But there were certain delegates again that I had wrote down just from the lineup who I thought was going to be a good Miss Universe from here. And I had wrote Kansas, Texas, Tennessee, North Carolina, Nebraska. I put beautiful face, Minnesota, Ohio, Illinois. Um, that was a little asterisk. Like for me personally, like if I was judging, like I was getting Miss Universe vibes from just the contest and watching them and knowing what I had seen in preliminaries. Now, once the swimsuit competition started, and just watching the swimsuit competition, and one thing that I noticed is that those stairs this year did not change. Those stairs were there for the swimsuit. Those stairs were there for the evening gown. I look at it as this year they were not playing with the delegates. It was walk down them stairs, give me Miss Universe, show me why you need to be Miss Universe, show me why we need to send you. Show me. Don't play. Show me. And I think for a lot of them, they got it. And for some of them, they were really like, oh no, I don't want to fall, or I don't know what to do, because you could see the same. And for me personally, just watching it, as a performer, someone who's an actor, someone who's a dancer, someone who has been in pageants before, once you go over the choreography once or twice, you need to keep up with it. And once you know what the challenges are, you need to figure out a way. If you know that you're not going to be the best at tackling whatever challenge they have on stage for you, you need to figure out a way on how to tackle it so that you look really strong. Some of them got the memo, the delegates. Some of the delegates to me did not get the memo. And again, I'm not trying to speak ill of anybody at all, because it is hard work to get up there and to perform and to model and to look your best and to smile and to be intelligent at the drop of a dime. It's very, very difficult. And there's some people who won't do it at all and don't understand the stress and the pressure. And there's some like myself and others out there that do. Hence why we are the pageant aficionado. Now, going into the swimsuit competition, I already wrote down my names: New Hampshire, Texas, Tennessee, North Carolina, Nebraska. New Mexico, something happened with the stairs. I know I put a asterisk, I put a question mark. Ohio, asterisk, asterisk, Tennessee, asterisk, Texas, asterisk, Illinois, asterisk. Those asterisks to me meant they tackled what they needed to tackle. What I was happy with Texas is that in swimsuit and preliminary, she struggled on those stairs. Something happened when she did her turn. This time, you could tell she had went and practiced her walking choreography, and she knew what to do as she came down those stairs. But again, the strongest ladies to walk down them stairs for me was Ohio, was Illinois, Kansas. I don't know what happened. It was like she had been doing so well throughout the week. And then it was like there'd be little tiny, little small steps. And I know how that feels to have like something tiny happen that normally doesn't ever happen. And then you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening while I'm in the pageant. It happens. Um, that was like, okay, I see that some of these young ladies are really going to bring it. Now it's time for evening, where I'm like, okay, let's see these evening gowns. I personally really liked Texas's evening gown for preliminary. I loved her whole styling. I got Miss Universe vibes from that. I was just like, here we go. The fashion of it all, the eleganza. I was like, yes, honey. I was already ready for Ohio because she knows how to walk down them stairs. I was hoping Ohio was going to switched to a different gown just because she wore the pink gown, but we had this chiffon train going down, like very lovely, very beautiful. But a lot of the young ladies for finals, it seemed like some of them switched their gowns, and it was this. Let's kind of go with the same thing last year's winner Elle Smith went with, which was to be very sparkly and we gonna shine like some diamonds in the sky. Like they were bringing it. So as we go into our top 12, we have New Hampshire, we have Kansas. For me, I'm starting to at this point write down, numbers. I'm actually judging myself right along because I'm watching and looking for the change of face, the change of expression. Did you tackle the stairs? Did you give us fashion? Did you become stronger or did you decrease? Did you va va voom or did you go wah wah wah? That's a part of the competition of the pageant. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But that is what the judges are ultimately looking for, and ultimately some of them are looking for their favorite that they've had in the pageant this whole time to see how well they're going to do. So for me at this point, we're watching. I'm seeing New Hampshire, and for me, I'm not going to actually say the grade because I went to as a former pageant contestant myself, be very kind to these young ladies who just worked really, really hard and just put their all on this stage to try to win a job of a lifetime and to make a dream of theirs come true. No matter if they made it or not, a lot of them are going to go on to have great careers in whatever it is that they're passionate about, and they're going to go on to do great things in their lives. And I applaud all of you. But back to the notes. So, New Hampshire, Kansas, Texas struggled on the stairs. Kansas struggled on the stairs. Kansas, I was actually shocked because it made me go, did they like tighten her dress? It looked a little tighter. It made me wonder if during preliminaries, one of the seamstresses saw that it was a little too loose and they fixed it. I don't know what happened, but it's like it was too tight and she couldn't move and she was looking down. Whenever you go down the stairs, you should be looking up. Just you should be looking up. It's very strong for you to look up and just walk and glide on down instead of you looking down and trying to find your way. Um, Texas, she struggled on the stairs for a little bit. She changed her hair. It was a different gown. I was a little like, oh no, like because I liked the preliminary hair and I liked the preliminary gown. That's what I liked. But she was doing what she strategically needed to do. Tennessee came back out with the same red gown. Now, Tennessee's gown for me this year, I thought the cut on the bottom was too short. And it looked also a little too prom, teenager prom. And then when our newly crowned Miss Teen USA came out, I noticed her evening gown looked very similar to Miss Tennessee's, and I was like, so I digress. North Carolina, wow, I was like, wow, that is, I've never seen a really someone compete in a orange or burnt orange. Like we saw that happen a couple of years ago. We saw it again with North Carolina this year, and it was gorgeous. I thought it was beautiful, fall time theme type of gown. It was a gorgeous gown. The colors, it was gorgeous. Nebraska came out. Um, she really carried her gown. For me, it was a little old fashioned, a little too like something I saw my sister wear to prom back in the 80s when I was a little kid. For me, personally, that was for me. But if she loved that crushed velvet, then I'm really happy for her. But for me, it was very old school and not really up to par with today's fashion. Minnesota, that gold gown, child, she looked like the statue for the Oscars, gorgeous. New Mexico came out with a gold gown, and at this point, I think this is our third gold gown. So then you start to, it's like, oh God, like she has a gold gown. So then it starts to, well, who has the best gold gown? Then here comes Ohio, baby. Chow, and Ohio delivered with the let me switch up the face, let me shift my weight, let me walk down these stairs. Do you hear me? She gave you legs for days as she walked down them damn stairs. Then we have Vermont, just looked gorgeous for me. I kept saying, I was like, oh, I'm getting like a young Jackie O. Like my family members were like, young Jackie O. I was like, yeah, I'm getting like a 2022 Jackie O Nassis. I really did. I just thought she looked gorgeous. Illinois, girl, just coming out, just giving me beautiful Latina Barbie, just sparkling everywhere, hair on point, makeup on point, just bam, bam, bam. It was gorgeous. And Connecticut looked for me a little too old school, but still at the same time very beautiful, very demure, very sophisticated is what I thought about Connecticut. But at the same time, I felt like somebody should went over her makeup just a little bit because you could see her line of her contour right going down, and I was like, that's so messed up. Like you can tell it was they didn't have enough time. So from there, it's now time for them to cut, and we are going to go ahead and we're going to go into our top five. For myself, I made a list of six who I thought were going to be the best, and they were giving me a Miss Universe vibe, and it was Illinois, Ohio, North Carolina, Minnesota, in Vermont, and then it was a little bit of a tie for me for New Mexico and Connecticut. When we actually got into it, I believe, yes. So when they actually get into it, we get that our top five finalists are Ohio, North Carolina, Texas, Illinois, and Nebraska. Now, for me, I was actually surprised that Texas made it through, and I was surprised at Nebraska. just because for me, I was watching so hard at these little small moments where I felt like there shouldn't be any mistakes at all. It's the final night. You give us blah, 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 boom, you rev it up, and you get the gear going. There can't be any little hiccups. For me, I did see tiny little hiccups with Nebraska's styling. For Texas, tiny little hiccups with the styling just because she switched up the gown and the issues with the gown and evening gown. But what I thought was great is what I always pride myself on is, well, how many did I actually get? So I had already thought Ohio, of course, North Carolina, of course, they made it through. So I got two for top in Illinois. So I got three for top five this year. And whereas Nebraska and Texas shocked me and surprised me, but I was still actually happy to see them make it through. Now, as we get in, I was already happy with the packages of the pageant. As the pageant going on, the stage was just lovely again. Crystal Stewart is serving great stages and great productions. I was really happy with the Miss Universe moment that we had with Harnaz Sandhu. And it was a little sad to see her have some tears because I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but Hernaz has been receiving a lot of backlash for her weight gain. She personally, I know health wise, from what I have read online, has some type of disorder where she cannot eat a lot of gluten. If there's certain foods with a lot of gluten, she ends up having weight gain. So I feel personally like when it comes to somebody's weight and their health, all the negative comments, just leave her be. She's doing her job. She's been doing a great job for the past 9 months. She looked gorgeous in her white and gold gown. She said she was very excited for New Orleans. At that point, I was happy to see her in the packages that we saw from Miss USA at that point. I thought were really, really great. And I was really happy with the close ups that we got from this production for Miss USA because we were seeing close ups of the crown, close ups of the delegate's face, close ups of the evening gowns, just everything. So it's like if you were there in person. And let me tell you, if you are not there in person, it is very different um, from what you see on TV because sometimes some gals translate really great in person, some translate really great on TV, some are just amazing in a whole. They translate both, but most definitely know that what you see on television sometimes is completely different than what you see in person and what the judges are seeing. So I see our time is running down. So we're gonna make this quick on Miss USA. So, of course, we had a moment for our dearly departed Chesley Chris, Miss USA 2019, who unfortunately left this world and last year, and we had that moment for her this year. Some people online argued that maybe the moment should have been a little bit longer, or maybe there should have been a montage. But again, in thinking business wise, we don't know how much time FYI was given for the Miss USA pageant. We don't know how much um, that maybe seeing Chesley in a video package and video montage and actually speaking, we don't know how that would have affected her family emotionally. So I actually think they did a great job to do it the way that they did it, and the fact that they actually had that moment for her. And I noticed at the top of the Miss USA pageant this year, it said in loving memory of Chesley Chris, and it was also someone else. And forget the gentleman's name, but I went ahead and Googled who that person was, and I believe it's a member of the staff of Miss Universe organization who also had passed away that year as well, and who must have made a great impact for them also to have said in loving memory of that person. Now, going into our top five, we see that our top five has went ahead and they have now changed into their interview suits and outfits, and they're ready to give us an interview. Now, when I'm sitting here and I'm watching how this goes now, this is going to be the main part of the interview. They're sitting down with Zuri Hall, the host. Now, as Zuri starts to ask questions, she most definitely, let me get my notes, people. Hang with me. Okay. So, and I wrote down the questions and the topics, so we're covered. So she wrote, so some of the topics that she asked them, and I feel like this is a real big test because they want to see who right away is going to start speaking, who has that confidence, and who's going to go get them right away. And so The topics were skinny jeans, when do you have me time, shopping online versus in person, your phone, or eating first. So these most definitely were personality questions for the young ladies. And I wrote down right away that Illinois led the pack. Nebraska kind of was like, wow, 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 wow. Because for me, Nebraska kind of came across almost as if she's this first lady or a person running for a political party. She said she was a corporate lawyer. She mentioned that as well. Illinois mentioned that she was the manager, excuse me, the director of a cosmetic spa. North Carolina mentioned that she was a chemical engineer. She, for her me time, she likes to have a mask and watch Housewives. At this point, I wrote down Ohio, quiet, because I felt like Ohio wasn't jumping in and taking the, hey, let me have some time. And at the same time, Miss Texas most definitely was getting in there and she was letting her personality shine. She kept reminding the judges that she was a fashion designer and her introduction outfit was made from sustainable items. And it was just the way she was handling all of it and attacking it. I was like, oh, wow, like we're seeing how they're going to see who really handles an interview and who's going to handle the media. Now, as we went on to that, it's time for the delegates to pick out a question from who the judges are going to be. Now, I know it's for Nebraska, she went first. Her judge was Nicole Williams English, judge number 5. Her question was, in 2022, why do some women still face equity and equality issues in hiring, especially in male dominated fields? Nebraska basically felt that females um, were neglected due to a subconscious way of thinking, and that in the future she would like to help other females who are focused on becoming an attorney like she was, and yada yada yada. Now we go straight into Illinois. She was then asked by judge number 1, Aaron Potts, voters. She said the question was, voters your age have been vocal about placing on age limits for elected officials. Are placing age limits on young or old on any profession ethical? She answered the question and basically said no, that was unethical, that basically we should not put age limits on people no matter their race, gender. She then was champion again her platform um, in for being inclusive and including all people of different backgrounds, races, and championing people of color being able to be brought into different spaces. So I saw what she was doing there, but I felt like her execution could have been a little bit stronger, because now we're starting to see that the girls, the delegates are now getting themselves ready. They are revving up. Texas is now ready to answer. She's third to answer. She picks judge number 2, Soo Yoon Lee, one of the judges that was visiting from Korea and an athlete. And her question, and it was really difficult for her to understand, Judge Soo Yoon Lee, and I may be saying her name wrong, but and I apologize, but she asked, global studies indicate that women are more vulnerable to climate change. I did get that part. You are asked to mandate, um, no, you are asked to make a task force to address these issues. What is your first priority? Right away, I was like, "Ooh, did Miss Texas really understand what she was saying? Can she understand the question?" Miss Texas right away just said, you know, are you asking about the climate issue and what am I going to do? The judge said yes. So she came up with a great answer about how everybody can start being more sustainable by making simple changes at home. As a fashion designer, she uses pieces, she uses other pieces and recycles them. She then went on to talk about how the outfit she was wearing right then and there was used out of recycled pieces, and that her business was sustainable. She answered the question for not being able to really understand what the question was. She answered the question. Now we then go into North Carolina. Now, North Carolina, she made me chuckle. She made me laugh. And the reason why she made me laugh because she did this thing that people do when they go into an interview where their voices automatically change because they're now in an interview. So they're trying their hardest to be very diligent, be on top of it, be on point, especially us Americans. And we have this way of changing the inflections in our voice to sound very present. And most definitely, like I remember Ashley Clark, North Carolina judge, said, "Hello, North Carolina." North Carolina said, "Hello." it was just, it made me laugh because I was like, she is not playing. North Carolina's like, I'm here, I am present. Yes, hi, let's answer these questions. And then I think they said, you look so lovely. She, thank you. Like it was, yeah. She cracked me up. I loved it, loved it, loved it. If I was interviewing her, yeah, she got the job because I was like, she's gonna bring that cheeriness to work with her every day. I love it. So the question from Ashley Clark, judge number 6, was: should content creators be required by law to disclose if they are being paid or actually use the services that are provided to them? And she answered the question. I believe she said that she would hope that most content creators actually use the content that is given to them and that they actually do know about uh, what's being provided for them to speak about, and that there shouldn't be a law made against that. But what something that was funny, as I kind of felt like she kind of contradicted herself a little bit, because I believe, and I know for myself as a content creator, if you speak about a product, you most definitely need to know about that product. You should have used it. You should know what's in it, and you should know all about it before you present it to somebody else. And I believe there's some rules about that within YouTube. And at the same time, I believe legislator, I forget when I saw this on C-SPAN, but a law is going to come eventually. There will be laws about that. So I was a little like, oh gosh, I hope that her answer is still relevant and that it will be okay, because at that point she like the little boo boo just touched my heart with the hello. I was just like, yes honey. I was like, bring it, North Carolina, she ain't playing. Now Ohio was our last one to answer, and she had judge number 3, Olivia Patton. And Olivia Patton, or Ponton, I might be saying the last name wrong, excuse me, but she said, representation in entertainment is under a microscope lately, from colorblind or non-traditional casting in a live action movie to musicians playing historical instruments. When as soon as she said to musicians playing historical instruments, I thought Lizzo twerking with the diamond studded flute with her way of being like F you to slavery and everything, but to other people they're like, Lizzo. You know what I mean? So I already was like, okay, I hope let's see where Ohio's gonna go. So let me back up. Casting in a live action movies to musicians playing historical instruments. Why is there so much pushback in representation? Now, I already felt bad for Ohio to get that question because I was already like, ooh, I was like, that one is a doozy. But because of just looking at her and seeing the community that she identifies and comes from in America, I figure she should be able to give a very strong, articulate answer to this question. And she did, but at the same time, her way of basically saying that Americans are uncomfortable with certain conversations. We have a lot of pushback with those certain conversations, but that we have to get comfortable with those conversations and have those conversations. And I kind of felt like that was just kind of one of those answers where it's just like, oh, that's not really like answering the question or coming up with something that was really strong. And especially coming from Ohio, I felt that she could have given a lot of great references to different things that have happened in Ohio's past as a state, and different racial things that have happened in Ohio, even with her own families. I believe Ohio spoke about her father being incarcerated, her mother being a single woman, and a single mother, and she also is an African American woman. So I just felt like she could have came up with a lot more to say, but in that quick 30, what is it, 30 or 45 seconds that they have to answer, she gave a statement. And I don't really feel like it was an answer, it was a statement. At that point, I also was thinking to myself, okay, well, who answered the best? And for me, I would have to say, when I wrote everything down, and as you see right here on my, sorry, it's too much light for you guys, but as you see right here, And my camera's there. Sorry, I know my eyes have been everywhere, but I'm trying to figure out what the camera is, y'all. But so we have it right here, my list. And I said, who answered the best was Nebraska. I wrote, wow, politician or first lady. Texas, good answer. North Carolina, personality, sweet voice, good answer. Illinois, good message. Ohio, I said, very real answer. Wow. But at the same time, could give me more. That's what I put. So at this point, they all answered really well, or in this fact that they answered the question, or they made a statement, or they gave you a clear something. It wasn't that none of them bombed. They all did a good job. It's one of those years where I was like, wow, well, who is it going to be? And so then in making just a top three for me, I wrote Ohio, Illinois, and North Carolina, and then right under was Texas. And I saw that I put Miss Universe, Miss Universe, Miss Universe, Miss Universe, and that was for Ohio, Illinois, North Carolina, and Texas. For Nebraska, I said the style is not there for Miss Universe. Great face, great answer. Miss America, maybe. Really, for me at that point, because Miss Nebraska style was so like a little old school for me, and a little conservative, and a little not really like let me go on par with this high fashion couture that you're going to see at Miss Universe from a lot of other delegates. And Miss Universe is invited to a lot of fashion shows. I was kind of like, where were they going with her sense of style, and where is the sense of style? What is style in Nebraska? That's what it made me think. What is style in Nebraska right now? And maybe we need to visit that, because compared to style in Hawaii or California or Georgia, New York, Texas, it was just very different for me. And what she chose with the evening gown, and I just ultimately could not see that winning for Miss Universe. That was not Olivia Jordan like Barbie cake dress. You know what I mean? It was totally different. I'm digressing. Now, for me, I know some people are probably like, wasn't Texas in your like little top three that you made? I said something was just a little off, and I think what it was is for me with Miss Texas, it's a lot of eyebrow and a lot of hairspray. And I kind of feel like we need to just come back a little bit, just a tiny bit. Not trying to say she's ugly. She's a pretty young woman, beautiful figure, nice warm spirit that I get from her. But just the eyebrow, just come back just a little bit on the eyebrow. You can be a little too much on the eyebrow, and the hairspray can dull the natural shine of healthy hair. That's just the truth. So now we go into our results, and we are now seeing that, and they went really, really quick with the results, which made me wonder if the time was just running out. I don't understand why they went so quickly with the results, but and then this is something that I'm starting to notice that they're sticking with is this uh, fifth place, fourth place. Like they're not doing runner-ups anymore, but they are actually a runner-up, because if you think about it, if for any reason, say something happens and she's no longer Miss USA, and the first and second runner up are like, I don't want to do it, then they're going to the third runner up to ask, well, do you want the job? That's what it's supposed to be, a line of succession for a reason. So that's what we have. So in our line of succession this year, we saw that our fourth runner up was Illinois, which I was like, wow, okay. Our third runner up was Ohio, which I was like, oh gosh, but I was still kind of like, wow, let's go Ohio. I was kind of wishing Ohio had a different gown to change into, for like she could have still performed in her that beautiful fuchsia pink gown that she wanted to perform in, but still changed to something else for crowning, so that once they were all up there, it just kind of looked a little more cohesive, because it did look a little like her gown was a little plainer compared to all the other delegates. Um, Once we get to, it's now time for our second runner up. It is Nebraska. And we have North Carolina and Texas. And I thought it was a really cute moment to see that Elle sitting there with the crown. She's just, and then her face was just so like giving me life, because she's just like, well, who got it, and North Carolina's just sitting there, and I was really like, oh wow, I think it's going to be North Carolina. And for a moment, I kind of thought for myself, well, wouldn't that be cool, because I don't remember when the last time we had like except for Alyssa Campanella, a Italian Miss USA, and North Carolina's last name was Romano. So I was already like, oh, I wonder if she has some Italian or Mediterranean heritage there. North Carolina was named as our first runner up, and Rabani Gabriel from Texas, the front runner from the moment she won Miss Texas to now, is now our Miss USA 2022. Um, Something that I thought was weird is that as soon as she won, you see the other delegates start to file off, and I see them starting to go to the runner ups and congratulate them. And the hosts came to congratulate Rabani and not the delegates. That is not. Woo, child, let me tell you, that is not a good look because right then and there, it already looks like, wow, she doesn't have the delegate support. They're not coming. She has to have one friend that she has made in this 1 week of them being together, or this whole year of them being title holders and doing state events where are going to the Miss Universe organization and meeting the president or whatever. Y'all didn't run to say hello, and I'm thinking, well, maybe they didn't have enough time. I don't get it, but we're still seeing her standing there for a little bit of time as the credits are rolling. We didn't see anybody come over and hug her, congratulate her. They weren't excited. Most of the time, you see that year after year, and then also this year with naming off the delegates, like you didn't give them, they didn't get a moment. The production didn't have a moment. I think they ran out of time in thinking about production and business wise, but that is what happened. Now, there has been, since she has won on the 3rd, and it is now October 9th, Sunday, and she won on Monday. There has been so much backlash, so much backlash. Wow. Backlash of delegates feeling that she has, the pageant was rigged. I saw a video by Miss District of Columbia USA, Miss Montana USA. I was a little taken back. I've also saw some other different pageant bloggers that were also suggesting that, and it broke my heart to see this, that Crystal Stewart's husband, who was our vice president of the Miss Universe organization, who has now stepped down, being accused of favoritism and sexual harassment, which I just was like, what is going on? Like, does somebody have it out for them? Like, this is just ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. But um, another note that I just want to put in there, because Rabani is now being coined and marketed as the first Filipino American Miss USA. I do want to say this, and I've already made note of this on two other pageant vloggers' reviews of Miss USA, that Rabani actually is the second Filipino American to win Miss USA after Hawaii's Maisel Wilson in 1962. Maisel happens to be a Filipino Hawaiian and Caucasian descent, and they didn't make a big deal of it back then. I'm not even sure if they said it in 1962, but yes, she is technically the first Filipino American and Native Hawaiian to win. It's also being coined that Brooke Lee, Miss Universe 1997 from Hawaii, is our only Native Hawaiian to have won Miss Universe, which is true, but she is not the only one who has won Miss USA. So I just want to put that out there. And a little bit of Miss USA trivia. So, with our Asian American and Asian Pacific Islander winners of Miss USA, we have 1962 Hawaii's Maisel Wilson. We have 1984 New Mexico's May Shanley. We have 1997 Hawaii's Brooke Lee. We have 2022 Rabani Gabriel from Texas. And if we really want to break it down, I also received note that Kimberly Pressler, Miss USA 1999, is also 1/4 Japanese and should be also considered a Miss USA who is also part Asian American, and that her father is half Caucasian and half Japanese. So technically, Rabani sits in the sits somewhere in history as being our fourth or fifth Asian American Miss USA. No matter what, where she's going to fit in that history profile, I do want to just put out there, she is not the first Filipino American. She's the second Filipino American. And I feel that the Filipino American community should celebrate that and be proud of that, to know that there's been two women from their community that have also are now a part of this beautiful sisterhood that is Miss USA. So that is enough for Miss USA 2022. I think that it was a great pageant. We're going to see great things from Crystal Stewart and the productions of the Miss Brand Corporation, as I think you see on the website. And go see the pageant in person. And when you get to meet Crystal, let me tell you, I got to go. I was Hawaii's Perfect Man 2021. I was, I believe, the fourth runner up at the World's Perfect Man pageant that year. And I also won the People's Choice Award. I got invited to go to Miss USA. I had a fabulous time. I got to meet Crystal Stewart, Kyra McCullough. I got to meet Vicky Wiggins from Miss Kansas, I believe 2016. I got to meet Danny Walker, my pageant coach, and also Miss Montana 2016. It was just so many different people that I got to meet. I got to meet Miss Hawaii and a few different Miss Hawaiis that I had grew up knowing about. So it was a great experience with my mom and my family. Now, as for a few more topics before we let you go, in male pageantry, we know that we already have had Mr. Global and Mr. Supranational, I believe 2021 crown. And for me personally, I'm not sure if this topic ever gets brought up about male pageantry, but it is time to start seeing more inclusivity with male pageantry. Whereas we have always seen that most of our male international title holders are always going to be a Asian male of color that is either fair skin, being that he is from India or Philippines or Korea or Japan or Vietnam, and then also a Latino man that usually is more has more European heritage, or he has a mixed heritage. So those are the only types of color that we see. Whereas we've never seen a man who looks like me or of African heritage or African descent technically win an international male pageant. I think that and I'm talking about the big ones. I know that recently for the Men Model Universe pageant, we had an African nation win, and that was the first time I saw that happen. That was last year, but we're talking about the big ones that get televised. And I think it's time that we start talking about that in male pageantry and start seeing that inclusivity. Something else that I wanted to note is that this year's Mr. Supranational pageant, I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. The production, it was great. Again, wondering what is it that you're really looking for, because on some levels it still looks like we're just picking and choosing what's going to make our markets happy for business purposes. And people who know. People who don't, we can get into that a different day. Now, as on for Mr. Global, this year's Mr. Global's first runner up was Vietnam, and the winner was Spain. It just so happened that a few months ago it was reported that Spain's winner did not want to accept the contract. I was really shocked and taken back. First of all, like, wow, you have won Mr. Global, and for you coming from a European nation where for most people that live in the Americas, we already know our young men don't get the same opportunities as the other men internationally get with having these preliminary and male pageant competitions that they can go to. And for us, mainly in America, sometimes it's just a model that's chosen, or it's a casting call, and still the way that the winner is chosen. We may not see a pageant, or we're just now getting to the point to where I just saw we had a Mr. Supranational USA pageant, and age requirements are aging out a lot of people who would like to compete in some of these pageants. But I digress. It was really sad to see that Spain did not accept that contract and that he couldn't sign it. And because of that, he was told he would no longer be Mr. Global. I believe he went ahead and politely stepped aside, and that ushered in our first runner up, Vietnam. I actually watched Mr. Global, and I thought Vietnam did such a great job. He had such a striking look. That man just basically just had to stand there. His tuxedo was phenomenal. I was so proud to see that he was going to be able to actually take on that job and have his dream come to fruition. Now, I said on today for Sunday we were going to speak about Miss Universe Organization, Miss USA, male pageantry, and of course, before we go, because I see we are getting up in time, Miss Grand International 2022. So we see that that will be happening on October 25th. already the Miss Grand International has given us a lot of great content to watch. To this year, I believe there's a sportswear competition. They've already done their sashing ceremony. I've seen this year, since they're celebrating their 10th year anniversary and celebrating it in Bali, Indonesia. They all jumped into the ocean with their crowns and sashes and gowns on. And the president, Mr. Nawat, was out there as well. So I'm looking forward to watching a lot of that and coming back to you guys in a few weeks with a review of that pageant. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to sit here and listen to my review and to have some fun with us here at the Pageant Aficionado. This will not be the last time that we go live. This is something that we'll be doing from now on. And again, happy pageant, stay healthy, and stay blessed. Bye.